I can't recognize. I think Giuseppe is not there, and Andrew, no. So let's wait for them about the governance and evaluation DAO topics. About IBC, what's the name of the guy we want to discuss with about IBC? I'm sorry, I don't remember his name.
June, are you on the call? Actually, I think June has not joined yet. I'm not seeing his name. So maybe B1T is on the call, and he's kindly agreed to join us on the discussion. So Manfred, maybe we can start with that.
Yeah, if you're okay, B1T, basically we can just exchange what we did for the faucet, because it's a good model that can be reused for other mix between blockchain and external systems. Here, in our case, it's a Discord and a bot running on a server. So a model that will be replicated for other usages in the future. And maybe we can just discuss about anything about how we can make this system good, because Discord is community centric. It has roles. It has moderation support by default. So maybe we can just discuss about what we have in mind and ask if people have any suggestion on what we can do to make this faucet a successful one.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hi, Jay.
Should we get started?
Yeah. We were so the 3 topics we identified for today, but we can add additional ones or change them actually. But the 3 topics that could be discussed today are governance module evaluation DAO. So continuing the last discussion, but Giuseppe and Andrew are not there, so we can discuss without them or just wait for them. Another topic will be IBC. We propose to June to join us here to discuss. I think B1T can share some. So his mind on the topic 2 and Milosh too. And the last topic that we can start right now, because we don't need anyone to join us, is probably the faucet, the community faucet bot running on Discord. With we have 2 things to discuss about this. In general, it's a good example of automation with an external system that interact with the blockchain. So here the Discord bot, and it's also a choice to probably remove the legacy faucet in favor of something on Discord. So we can discuss about anything regarding the moderation, the system itself, maybe the link with the DAO at some point, etc. Good for you, Jay?
Is there what about everyone else? Maybe people want to talk about specific things outside of that scope. Maybe not, but that sounds good too.
Yeah. Once again, feel free, guys, to let a message by text in the channel so we can read it, or to join us by voice if you want to exchange another topic. Office hour is clearly made for discussing about topics with the community. It's focused mainly on tech, but it's not limited to the agenda. So maybe yeah.
Oh, sorry to interrupt. Yes.
No, it was to introduce you, B1T. So let's go.
Oh,
no problem.
Okay. Let me just introduce myself. I'm B1T. I'm a programmer and got involved in Cosmos in 2018, and I really love the technology that Cosmos built, and especially the node. And this is a great technology that create a lot of value for the blockchain infrastructure, especially build trust in a permissionless environment with a minimize the trust assumption. So that's why I'm very interested and would like to invest my time and effort in this field. And thank you. Today, I'm actually involved in blockchain in broader um, subject I like to talk about. Number one is the governance module. I think I had one a proposal. This is started, and so I would like to go over some of my thoughts to share with everyone for like feedback and comments. So to make it simple, um, and I believe in the first phase game also, I think we should have a deadline, and then so that everybody can really spend their have a goal, and so that we know what is the deadline, so that everyone will work on that. That's number one. The second is, um, I know that um, the first phase is for evaluation DAO is mainly purpose for um, to evaluate the second phase contribution in smart contract. But I believe also this structure process that we got in this game of RAM will pretty much eventually will help us to launch the chain or even govern the chain later on. So that when I create this kind of proposal, I have that also in mind. The second is in the first phase, there are, I believe there are three topics, but there's a DAO piece and there's a the governance piece. But I think there's to really have a good solution, I think all three components need to work together, which is DAO, of course, governance, but also probably some flavor of the token uh, economy. Need to be able to the three work together to help us to build and grow the community and attract more people in the community. So, so here's my thinking. So I will originally think is to propose based on some issues we saw in governments, the other chains, and also Cosmos Hub, and then that we can create something that is more suitable for customized, suitable for evaluation DAO purpose and also for the new technology stack. So number one, on the government on the DAO side, I think there's I think I remember last time I saw somebody we proposed to have a membership which is um, basically the main contributor may can have a membership, and we have a seven level of the membership, and which is great because I see this DAO, and one way to see this DAO or any other DAO, we can see this as a from one perspective is like a startup incubator. Um, is every DAO between many DAO, where let's suppose that we have evaluation DAO. There will be more DAO drawing that this platform is more like a um, like incubator infrastructure that can not only provide the community, but also some funding, but also technology infrastructure for those startups to grow and create the business on this platform. And from that perspective, um, we can build an internal the membership that we can create a seven level, but also there's each member we can attach a certain expert. Let's say, for example, each member a map to an NFT or profile that not only have a level but also have a technology expert, maybe up to three. Okay, so here are some the experts who I believe that it will help us to identify we're good at what, and also when there's the consensus technology selection or voting later on, that we can apply those technology experts to apply to the field, so that they can gain a little bit more voting power in that particular area. I think fundamentally of the blockchain technology have like for for the tech stack, like the P2P communication, cryptography, encryption, distributed database, and consensus. Okay, those are three fundamental experts that we can assign to different members, and also there are some other area that's specific for the GNOME, including the Tendermint IBC, Cosmos SDK, GNOME VM as a VM virtual machine, and also GNOME language package. So those are the tag expertise that we can tag or assign to these members. So, and those members have something to say about certain technology implementation that are getting more voting power. So that's one thought on the DAO structure. And also for the sub DAO, I think this is more like I'll imagine this is a more loosely coupled independent DAO. They can join and split each time. So the substructure is actually implied through from the membership joining different DAO, or through fund allocation, or through joint voting. Okay. So those are already kind of implied relationship. So that's in my proposal is just there's no sub DAO. It's more like loosely coupled the DAOs. That's about DAO. The second part is about the governance. I think that the governance, the original the Cosmos governance module, there are two pieces that is built on. One is they already built on the atom, which is using the atom as both in the skin in the game and also the voting power for the government. So they already built something leverage on those two characters, so that they can have a good governance on top of it. Already in our situation, it's different. Number one different is most of our evaluation DAO, or even I believe when we launched the chain, the DAO decision is mainly focused on building the software, at least at the first phase, initial phase. And so that when we propose a software solution, it's really hard to create a yes or no proposal, because it's more like a RFP request for need to have first a request for proposal and have a clear definition of the problem and requirement, and then have other people to join and compete for this proposal. And so that is more suitable for score voting or rank voting that people see, so that people can, based on the requirement and the problem definition, so that people can vote who is the best solution or best contribution. I think that is better than the current the governance style module, the only model, the yes or no proposal. And also this with the ranking and the score voting structure, it also can adapt or for the yes or no, because if you have only one option available when you initially create this proposal, then it automatically become yes or no voting structure. So that's why I propose in the governance that we will adapt that. The second piece is different is in the governance is because it does not have the underlying token to support as voting power, then we lose the skin in the game and also incentive. Okay. Those skin gain and incentive are actually the head and tail of the same coin, basically. And we need people to incentive people to vote, participate, and also we need to punish people who actually really made a bad decision, or even try to attack or prevent people really attack the governance, pass certain proposals that really damage the value of the chain. So because there's no staking token at the beginning, at least my understanding is there's no staking token to secure the chain. So there's all this bounding are removed. So we need to create something that is bounded to the decision that people are making, so that if there's something happen really bad, so they actually all their tokens are also going bad. So that creates some protection to the governance, and also in terms of incentive, and to build the incentive is the number one. The first is we have this token, the voting power, that's distributed to the right people, that who does care about the government, who does care about the community and the product. So I think that problem is pretty much solved if we only the people who are membership, okay, contributors, and have a voting power can vote. That will solve the problem. Of course, in the later on, we can use other people to delegate their voting power. But that is, I don't have a good opinion on that end yet. But mainly it's really the membership that the members can vote. So when they vote, of course, they are they're the technology, mainly on the technology selection, or even the telco economies heavily affect if it's successful, this chain, how they affect the future return of all those members. So it automatically build in the game, and also the incentive. So that's how pretty much my thinking in that area, and so I'd like to see anybody have a question or feedback.
Can you repeat your last point, please? I just missed that. Just
Oh,
before.
yeah, the last point is about the skin in the game and the incentive to vote and in the governance. So basically, I was saying, number one, the most important, there are two pieces. One is the voting power needs to be distributed to the people who care about the chain, who have clearly bounding in terms of the return in the future. So right now we have a membership. I think that is already given. Okay, that part of it that is already um, incentive part is there. So there is no other people voting. Only members vote on the proposal. Okay, that's the first, and also for um, uh, the second part is the skin in the game. Basically, when they voting, make a bad decision, are the members. I believe in the future. Okay, we haven't talked about the token economy yet. I believe all this, the fee token probably will, and also the community pool actually will funnel through those numbers to distribute it, to distribute out, so they have certain benefit from the entire token economy from the chain. So that's why when they vote, all those distribution orders will be that's the other part of the dispute again, because they all the distribution, token distribution funnel through them.
They'll have skin in the game because if they vote something bad, it will be escalated in a dispute. Did I get that right?
It will be escalated because it's more. That part I have not about the skin again. How I haven't really have uh, a concrete method or solution for that, but it's more like if we really build bad, their membership will be cancelled, will be gone.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Membership should be revocable if people do bad things.
Yeah,
I
or
guess.
even or lower level. If like something is not really depends on how we can design later on. It's completely invoked immediately, where we just lower the level.
Anyone
So
have
I'm no-
any thoughts? Please feel free
I have
to.
on my side,
Yeah.
but yeah, maybe we can listen to other people, but I have feedback. Yeah.
Mhm.
So on my side, about the new topics like having expertise or technology, 3 technology per people, and having subDAOs something we could remove, I suggest actually doing this feature, the way to measure the expertise of people with subDAOs, because if it's something claimed, okay, I consider myself a Golang expert, it has basically no value. If it's something we want to measure to have some kind of endorsement, we can develop the feature, or maybe subDAOs can be a better fit, because I'm not sure that I want to measure if someone is good in Go. I want to make sure that someone is good in the topic, and having something similar to what we have in open source with per folder leaders. Not remember the name. Owner of a subfolder of an open source package. I think we can make something in that way with subDAOs. So we can have a subDAO for Tendermint2, which has subDAOs like the peer-to-peer part, the networking part, whatever. And here it becomes easier to measure the expertise of someone, of some contributor, because it will be linked to contributions. So it's not claimed, it's validated. And we're not limited to expertise in terms of technologies, where an expertise just belongs to a topic which is considered important enough to have its own subDAO. So I will go in your direction of having expertise, but probably by linking it to subDAOs and having a way to endorse or to maybe to taint the membership of subDAO with expertise, but at this level. So that's the first point, going your direction with expertise, but keeping the subDAO system, which for me has many advantages, like being an interface and being having a way to not have the same governance module, governance features, payment features for everything. So some DAOs will have very automated approaches with automated payment, automated review, automated stuff, while other one will be very DAO centric with maybe 2 weeks of voting period for important decisions, while other ones will be by default, I don't know, the identified current leaders can take fast decision while the community can make veto votes, including firing bad leaders. So I like this approach of subDAOs in terms of flexibility. I like it in terms of not being focused on technology, but in focusing interest, because I can be a good Golang developer, but very bad at I don't know the IAVL package, and I can be the exact opposite. I can be very bad at Golang, but an expert in IAVL because I don't know. I designed the equivalent in 2 other languages. And another thing about ranking solutions and governance to be extended to support not only yes, no, but choosing the best solution. I agree, but I will split choosing best solution and choosing the split, because for me, if a team, a member is working hard during 1 year with frequent reports, approval of from us that we agree with the strategy. So 1 year of hard work, but at the end, someone makes something very simple, and we choose a simple solution that took 1 week to be developed. For sure, we want a governance that will choose the best solution. But in terms of a winner, I consider that the second solution is actually the one that deserves more rewards. So yes, I would just split the choice for what we do, what we choose for the project versus what we believe. Sorry, and the allocation of contribution points. That's my two main feedback on what B1T shared.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. I totally agree with the sub-DAO thing, and here's just like another example. I like the GNO versus Tendermint 2 one, which is under the umbrella of software. But there could also be hardware. The wallet is software, but it's completely separate from any of the other things. There's also need for like marketing, perhaps, charity work. I think there's a lot we can do beyond the software that requires sub DAOs. But even in the software, I guess it would be better if we could, um, if we could, uh, and I like the tree structure, of like creating a top organization, which is responsible for filling out the sub organizations, the sub DAOs, because this way we can scale, hopefully. Maybe, but maybe there's not enough. Maybe it doesn't really work that way. Maybe it's not that much of a benefit in the beginning to have sub DAOs. So maybe there's a valid point there. But I guess eventually we definitely want sub DAOs. Oh, and also for well, there might be multiple approaches to the same problem. Oh, so here's another example, like um, the GNO. The Go is one language, right? But we could also work on perhaps other languages that compile down to the VM, right? Which would be its own category.
Yeah, I also think that technology is tool limiting and not valuable enough in terms of categorization of people. But the idea of not having just a list of members with some points, but also some metadata in terms of focuses and topic expertise, for me, make a lot of sense. And I think it should be something merged with SubDAOs, which was something we didn't think about right now. SubDAOs were mostly about how they can make stuff together, but not about the membership itself, which can be empowered with better metadata. So I like this approach. And I think we can start with just one DAO, but know that in the future we'll have sub-DAOs. And actually, for me, it's like an organization. You start a company, you don't create 50 teams. You start flat, and then you start isolating or allocating autonomy to a team, which means we allocate a budget. We make sure that we're aligned on the objectives, etc. And depending on the team, they can be flat internally or have a leader, or I don't know, be a partnership with an external project, etc. I think SubDAO can offer the same flexibility. By default, we start flat. As soon as we need, we create something, and this thing can be very linked to the top level organization or can be extremely autonomous. But at some point, when you are in a sub-level organization, you can consider that you can participate to top-level governance too, just maybe with less power because you are maybe considered as not a 360 expert of the whole project, but just only on one part. But it doesn't mean that if you are in a sub-DAO, you can't give your voice for top-level choices. So starting flat and knowing flat or maybe with subDAOs, but maybe not many levels. Maybe just, I don't know, one top level organization, one for Tendermint2, one for GNU VM, and one for GNOLEarn, for instance. Maybe it's enough to get started. And then we have the option to scale, not at the beginning, but when we notice that something should keep autonomy, should get autonomy for good. I think it just matches with a standard organization in the traditional world, because it's usually start like this. We create teams not from day one, but when it makes sense. And most of the time, when not the CEO choose, but when the team below feels constrained, feels limited by the flat organization. Okay, by default, we need to ask for everything to the CEO. The CEO is never here. Can you allocate a budget and autonomy and rules, and we will do it our way and make good reporting. Okay, let's go. Maybe 1 year later, they need to make sub teams. If it makes sense, it makes sense. So yeah, that's what I like about subDAOs, especially that we can decide to not define them at the beginning.
Yeah, I think it's all makes sense. But I think we can all those discussion will help us, the participant, to build software stacks around these topics, and those are very good concrete examples. But I think what we are going to deliver is more a generic abstraction of what we have talked about, and we can build a structure that works for hierarchy structure in subDAO, where loosely coupled link together subDAO.
That makes sense. Yeah, like if it doesn't necessarily have to be hierarchical, it can just allow loose association, and hierarchy could emerge if it wants. That was. Thank you for contributing, B1T. Maybe someone else wants to go like that. It'd be good to hear from more people in the call. And maybe it'd be nice to if we also did some introductions. I don't know. How do you feel about that?
I think it would be nice. We're not too many, so we can even ask the community to just say what they expect from GNU. Are they just curious, or do they have expectations about the project?
You can also always drop it in the chat if it's easier.
Yeah. Feel free to reply by chat, telling us what you like, what you expect, what's maybe your favorite feature or whatever. We can reply by voice then.
You want to start alphabetically? You want to start calling out names? Aftogen. Or if Geni or Gub or Isma.
Actually, I like your project, and I wish success all of you.
Thank you.
Evgeny, you're unmuted, but we don't hear anything.
I muted myself. I don't have any question.
Thank you. Maybe you want to go back to the topics you want to discuss, Manfred?
Yeah, maybe since B1T was also interested by this governance and relation DAO topics, I have a question, which is for me the still very unclear part about the first days of the DAO. Right now, my vision is if we go with 7 levels, then the first one should be automatic to join or automated by something, but it should not rely on humans to make verifications. We can consider, I don't know, that you make a PR by default, you are invited in the first level. So this is not a level with many power, but it's something that will basically create your account in the DAO, allow you to make votes, to propose, to write point allocation proposals. So then you can make a proposal that will be reviewed by real humans. So we make something basically that will prevent spam. And all the levels above, level 2 to 7, are human-based with their own set of rules that will progressively go to the higher you are, the more chances we have that you are a good contributor, that strongly believe in the project, that wants the project's success, etc. So yeah, there is a question about all the small stuff like having an automatic level 1 to just ease the acquisition, but then what could be the rule to switch from level 1 to level 2? And ultimately, how can we ensure that the Satoshi score, the distribution of the voting pool, goes fast enough to a higher number? How can we make sure that we won't stay with 1, 2, 3% at the top level with thousands of person in the level 1? So yeah, this part for me is not clear. It's even risky in terms of not successfully decentralize the organization or making the hard to work for people to just get started, or to have too many work from the DAO to review too many contributions. There is something here that is not clear for me, and I would like your opinion.
Oh, I think you raised a very good question, and I have roughly thought before, but I don't have a concrete answer yet. But in general, I think at least the first initially, when we have the first level, and definitely that should be selected from the contributors in the past. And I think because there's a limit, number of, I remember it's like 300 something of the total membership. So there's some limitation or something we need to plan in there. So we cannot just let everybody open a PR and then become level 1 automatically. I think definitely there will be the candidates. I think the first board on board probably just you guys, and who are really create this chain, and maybe can pre-select a few members at the beginning, or actually the winners from or candidate, not top winner, maybe top candidate solutions in each area that can be used to select the first the level of the first group who will be part of this community and have the membership. I think that will not only just the monetize, the reward, but I think we can use this opportunity to select our the members.
What alternative? Sorry, I didn't understand.
What I said is, instead of because sorry, there's 2 points. One, instead of everybody just who open a PR will automatically become a member on level 1, we say, hey, these are the candidates. They need to have contributed in the past. and I also participated in a game of Rim. And actually, at the end of Rim, the game of Rim, actually we can use that process to select um, um, the first level of the members. And I don't know how many, but there need to have a limit because our total is about 300 membership in total. So we need to
Well,
leave room
yeah,
to grow.
just about that part. The yeah, there was the original proposal was to have like 100 or 334 equal members, more or less equal members, but I it's like why do we if we have people with the right talent and expertise and commitment and core values, then why not bring all of them? Why not have as many of those as possible, especially at the top level, right? Wouldn't that be better? Then maybe there are even 10,000 people. It sounds like a lot. Maybe it'll be unmanageable. But it sounds like it's generally better to have everyone who wants to and can and should and be part of the same group. So I'm not sure we should limit ourselves to say 300 members or any fixed number of members anymore. Though I definitely believe that we should grow at a scalable, sustainable rate, and also have like an application or candidate process through Game of Realms, right?
Yeah,
But
proposed friend rate should be. Sorry.
just saying, yeah, this is all kind of in the air. So maybe we do end up with a fixed number of members. Let's talk about what it should be. Okay?
Yeah, just to give you some context, 300 is a good target in terms of now we can consider that we can be a very, very huge organization while being very decentralized. So it's a good target, but it's more a virtual target. And this is only for top level members. Maybe we can consider the 2 or 3 first more powerful levels. The level 1 that I suggest automating to prevent to reduce both human time and spam at the same time is something. It's not. Yeah, they are members. They have basic votes, but the first level is more like you are an apprentice. An apprentice should not be considered as someone who should. They shouldn't be counted on the top level big DAO because we don't know yet if they just made one contribution, if they are aligned with the core values, if they strongly care about the project, or if it was just a gaming to enter the DAO and just create chaos. So even if we keep a target or limit at some point, first level is more like apprentice. It's outside of the membership limit we expect.
Okay, I think that's good. Good.
But yes, for me, there is a challenge here. If we have multiple levels, one of the challenges is how to enter level 1. Then what the rule to enter level 2, because that's a special case, that will be the first level of DAO with many small reviews. And then how to make sure, maybe we don't need to have people on every levels, but how we make sure that we don't are in 1 year with 3 people on level 1, 1,000 in level 6, and 1,000 in level 7, and that's all, because it won't be decentralized at all in that way. So how to progressively go with, okay, there are 100 persons that are basically powerful, involved experts on topics that can take high-level good decisions, while having apprentices and other participants that can still participate and give their opinion, and progressively go one level by one level into the next level. because they're investing some time on the side while keeping another job, or because they dedicate their time to just work on GNU so that it becomes their main source of income at some point. We need to find ways where it's still something interesting to try. In 2 years, people should still be interesting to enter in the game, to get started, to try to join it, and to try to go to the next level. So at some point they can leave thanks to their passion and to the project they are helping to grow. So that's the topics where, for me, we are not clear at all, and I see many risks of having something that will stuck at some point. And I feel completely bad for this because it's not something just about technical choices, but it involves economics and game theory. So would like some help on this point.
Great. I just dropped. I think we only have 10 minutes left for this office call.
I could stay on for a bit longer.
The reason I want to have another question regarding the IBC. I think it's okay to switch the topic right now, but talk about
Yeah, sure.
Okay, thank you. So, I think before we talk about the IBC, I would like to ask a question is, when we launch this chain, have we decided, are we going to use the Tendermint 2, which is the current Tendermint in our repo, or the Tendermint 1? I think actually that determines how we move forward with approach on the IBC part.
Can I answer and you fix me, Jay?
Yes, please.
So the goal of the core team, so not everyone, but the core team, is to use the shortest path to what makes the most sense, which is running the real mainnet with Tendermint 2, with proof of contributions, with IBC1 to get connected as a consumer, with ICS, etc. In terms of priority, we try our best to go in that direction and keep the focus. Technically, GNU VM will be something that you can run as a module on Tendermint 1. For many good reasons, for many good reasons, many teams should want to run the GNU VM based blockchain with Tendermint 1. The core team doesn't have this plan right now, but we can invest time to help people going in that direction because that's also good for the project. But the choice of going to Tendermint 1 to just have a mainnet sooner, etc., is actually losing the focus a lot. So by default, right now, the focus should be to stay on Tendermint 2 only to make it happen soon in good condition with high security and everything, so that we are the mainnet we want for GNU. But technically, maybe you will see other chains running, maybe not before, or maybe before, running GNU VM and Tendermint 1. And if at some point we want to make another chain, we can also do it. But for me, GNU.land, the main chain, the one with all the sources for great contracts, should run directly from Tendermint 2, proof of contributions, and GNU VM. So there are options. We will have other blockchains by us or by partners. But right now, if we ask the core team to just switch to Tendermint 1 to have a mainnet earlier, it's a big focus in the main roadmap. So yeah, on my side, my focus will be to stay on Tendermint 2 while allowing other people, maybe team from our organization, maybe we'll have a special division, DevRels, developers, that will try to make it happen on Tendermint 1 on the side. But on my side, I prefer to keep the focus on the shortest path to what we want to offer to the world. I let you fix, Jay, if I said some mistakes.
Yeah. Another thought I have is imagine if I think we should try to make Tendermint 2 work because it is the shortest path to launch, and if we need to port everything to Tendermint 1 or the SDK, if we feel like that's something we need to focus on, I imagine we can probably get that done, say within 2 months. And so we can still kind of punt that decision if we need to later. So if we need to do it, we can still do it later. And it seems like we should be able to get IBC compatibility much sooner than that, hopefully. So yeah, we'll for now the direction I think should be that we focus on Tendermint 2 and make IBC work with Tendermint 2.
All right, thank you. That's all I can.
Thank you. Near 1218 on chat said, if we come up with a way to quantify the contribution, I guess numerically, right, then the barrier of entry to a certain level is natural and it's not set by number, I guess, not set by level. That's a good point. Not sure. Yeah, I mean, I wonder how, Yeah, okay, that's interesting. Okay, to read the second part. Secondly, a set number could increase as the community increases to get as much talent in a controlled manner. I like that a lot. Thank you. These are really valid points. So I guess we can
You're
come up.
welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
No, not a problem.
Can you introduce yourself a little bit?
Yeah, my name is Nir. Have nothing to say about myself. I've been following for quite some time, but I was a little bit too shy to add to the discussion. But so I wrote my comments. That's it.
So thank you for speaking up. Excellent comments. Maybe we could have a formula like, I guess, how much, how committed are you? So how committed are you? How much skin, I guess so. So if you've contributed a lot, then you're committed. So that's one number, and there's two more. The second one might be like how broadly and deeply you understand the stack, perhaps, or whatever expertise, whatever area of expertise you remember focusing on. And maybe the third point is like core value alignment. Right? And if we say you need all three, then it's pretty clear that we need to take like a dot product, multiply three numbers perhaps, right? And that might be the number. And then we don't need levels.
For your information, that the way I imagine the relationship between Evaluation DAO and Game of Thrones, because for Game of Thrones, we need to have some kind of points. And I don't want to make one contribution is 1 point. I want to have something where we can attribute, dynamic amount of points depending on many attributes like difficulty, involvement, I don't know. And that's for me the similar point with the Gnosh token, which is very flexible, like not like the memberships, which are very more static. So at some point for me, Evaluation DAO will distribute points as suggested by Nir, based on the difficulty or whatever. We can then decide, okay, with that amount of points, we can have a leaderboard. Maybe you can just say, if you go above 1,000 points, you go to the next level. Or we can say each week, each month, or when it makes sense, we take just the top contributors from one level to another. So for me, we have this system of score allowing to reward someone differently between a typo fix versus writing a full book during 1 year about the project. And we don't need to make Gnosh right now, but it's basically a way to test it in a more manageable way thanks to membership. Membership will allow us to have voting power that makes sense and more flexibility in scaling it when at the pace we want, while having a score which would be dynamic, not liquid, but very dynamic. And it will also help us not only to measure the contribution, but also to validate that the distribution of points is fair. Because at some point we will give a budget of points to people, and an easy problem that we can have is about abusing this system, so that at the end the points are just worthless or not relevant from a project to another. But that's another topic I have in mind in terms of things that need to be clarified. How we can make points which are easy to attribute, not easy to game, and usable as a way to automatically or to help humans to decide who can go to the next level. And I think Evaluation DAO is a very good experimentation exactly for this point. We don't have the pressure of running the mainnet and scaling the real DAO. We can make mistakes while having a similar concept like the scores, the points, and the membership. So Nia, if you want to share your thought, feel free to also comment on GitHub on the Evaluation DAO issue with what you think today, with examples of other projects or DAOs or scoring system you like.
Дядька, ну просто, ну как можно запустить в одно и то же время 3 ноды разные, и они пускают прям?
Some more thoughts on membership.
Отправить подсу
Maybe like at some
личное
higher
сообщение
level,
с...
or at level, you get like, what's the word? Like in university, you get tenure, right? And the tenure system I hear sucks in universities, but it seemed to have worked for a while. And maybe we can have like weak tenure. So once you get to a certain level, you're not expected to always be contributing actively, except like perhaps in a certain limited capacity, like through voting on important matters. Perhaps. Another thought was it takes a while to see if people are aligned in values. Like I think it takes years to see how people act in the real world in tough scenarios, to see like, you know, what people are like. And so I guess one of the requirements might be it takes a bit of time to get to a certain level. But yeah, I guess in general though, I also like the idea of having equal peers on top, like kind of like what is it in partnerships, right? Generally, I guess, no. In partnerships, often even general partners have shares, right? Is that right? Or are they usually equal members? I imagine, I guess, like in law firms or something, you can, once you become general partner or partner, you have a certain class of rights compared to non-partners. But I guess you can also buy shares. Not that we want to bring that kind of system into GNOME, but yeah, I'm rambling now.
Oh, I have another question. This is probably another related to the chain. Um, So when we will introduce this, the more nodes, so that we can have multiple nodes working together, so that we know if there's anything breaking.
Sorry, what was the question?
So when will, right now that I know that we have one one node
Full
that's
node, yeah.
for, yeah. So when will it enable like a multiple nodes network? Or in what stage can we introduce multiple nodes?
I guess it would make sense to have multiple node. Do you mean like for validators or just for full nodes?
For not for validators, basically we can have the node smart contract be able to sync among different nodes.
Yeah. Well, maybe as soon as we can figure out this, enough, like a minimal membership system, then we'll be able to. Okay, here's another question, right? So let's say we have like 100 or even 10 or a dozen members or 100 members, whatever. Who gets to validate? And I guess it's pretty easy. I guess we can get started pretty easily and just say of the members or of a certain class or level of members. If you want to validate, you can be a validator. And there's no delegation or anything like that just to get started. So that seems pretty simple. So if we can get a very simple membership system just to start somewhere with the intention to change it, and then once you're a member, you can opt in to be a validator, then I guess that will be when we have multiple validators. How about that? And then we can start tweaking the smart contract as we go.
Yeah, that was my plan, but I wanted to propose to the community to have two test nets, one with a single node as of today, with more is to just make updates and resets and anything that could make sense, so people can experience not the whole multi-node experience, but just test no VM, interact with the contract as users. And on the side, another testnet for validators, or we can just push the limits. And after some time, we can say, okay, from now, the next only testnet will be multi-nodes. So my first approach was to make a dedicated one where we can maybe start with a Genesis file during the first days until we develop this membership contract and find a way to just have a first node, inventing a second one, inviting a third one, etc. So what you said, but in my mind, during the first phase of multi-node testnet, we should have two testnets, one for users and one for infra people, validators, just to make sure that it works smooth and people can be focused on their problem.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. Maybe it also, maybe we will eventually make the smart contract upgradable so we can even start. Nah, maybe that's crazy, but that makes sense to make it upgradable. I don't know.
We will make them upgradable. We just have many options, and the question is about data, because making the smart contract upgradable with a way that by default you upload the contract, you can access it from the top level URL like today, but you can also suffix the URL with a hash, which will always be the same. Is a way to have something that will basically allow upgradability of contracts, something similar to GitHub. When today you go on GitHub on a project, you are not telling what commit you want. Just by default, you see the last one. So we can have this for users. We can even have this for developers with something similar to go.mod file. Okay, by default, I want a specific version, or no, I just want latest. Then you can decide to publish. Then the question is about, okay, now you make a grade. What about the data? Do you want to have all the state to be managed by a companion contract that won't be upgraded with some kind of I don't know, some kind of ACL from the top level contract to interact with the data? Or do we want to allow migration of contracts while sharing the same realm state? This is more a question about supporting this, because the other option was to allow upgrading the contract by patching it, by patching the GNO files or adding GNO files. I think if we want to make better transparency, discoverability, we need to go with you upload a full version, you let the choice to users and contract to discuss with a specific version, and then the main question is about data sharing between the versions. Do we want to make something where they can share it? Do we want something where each contract has its own set of data and needs to implement migration, which is something we can do, and probably with very easy method like importing the previous one and appending new changes to the previous one. Maybe that's just an option. And if we fix this data sharing stuff, then we have versioning while keeping the simple URL by default, simple URL for the dependencies when you develop locally. And we basically fix the upgrade issue, the upgrade problem. But right now, my main focus on this point is about sharing of realm state versus each state, each contract version is independent or not. I didn't choose yet. I think I will just make a proposal, open a PR with this multi-version stuff and some contracts. But consider that, we should have something great for upgradability, and probably we can make something similar to the Go experience. And it will be just, very awesome to have a simple upgradable smart contract that you can trust and an idiomatic way to consume and upgrade.
Here's a related thought. Okay, what if? Okay, so here, this is trying to address a couple points. Okay, I'll just talk about the model first, and then it'll be, I guess, clear what it's trying to solve. Imagine if we start with maybe 7 levels. Starting off with 7 is like too much because we don't even know how to fill half of these or what they're for. But it seems like we have maybe 3 classes that are more concrete. So the first class is more open, and maybe it's through a candidate process or through classes, but there's the first level, which is more open. There's the top level, which is which we want to be decentralized enough in the beginning, but also I think maybe the 334 figure can apply to the top level, and we can have a schedule for how we plan to expand it. So there's like a minimum required or minimum required growth of the top level to get to like 334 or something within X number of years. So we have some schedule at the top. And then there's the middle level, which is everyone from the first level that gets filtered somehow into the second level. So they have to contribute more and show commitment, and then they can stay in level 2. So this solves the need to decentralize. It'll guarantee that the top level is decentralized. Oh, and there's one more thing. And then if we program the governance module to allow top levels to insert levels underneath it. So if the top level can change how the bottom level works, then that means the top level could insert a new layer beneath it dynamically when it wants. So we could make this a 4-level system easily. So for example, this makes it easy. So if as we try to grow and we find a new need for a new level, then we can just inject it. So it's evolutionary. Yeah, so this way, yeah, we might not even need a fixed number of levels in the beginning. It could be potentially something that grows. Maybe the software contract, the governance module doesn't even have to change. It could just be one module that is flexible enough to evolve. I guess in some sense, this would be a lot like sub-DAOs. Like the top DAO is the top members, and the top DAO can kind of organize its substructure however it wants. And in the beginning, maybe there's a second level, and that second level then maybe also is responsible for administrating the first level. So we got this hierarchy. And then I suppose either the second or the top level can whenever decide to create more structure. So there's even flexibility in who creates another level or a tweak to the system. So it's even more open that way.
I think I will open a PR soon with the first batch of tests on versioning, level, and examples of upgradability. I will probably try to introduce new way to test flows involving multiple contracts, where we interact with version 1, then we patch it or upgrade it, then interact with version 2, etc. So something easier to just have more integration and end-to-end tests, because that's obviously something we want to test for security, maybe from the contracts themselves, maybe have some ways to, if possible, idiomatic ways to unit test the migration with live data. Yeah, I try to think more and open a PR so we can discuss around this. I usually talk about this versioning topic with people by voice. It would be nice to start having a central place to discuss. I will need to go on my side. Is there anything you need me for? Yeah, to discuss something about in general, or can I let you hear with other people?
Yeah, I can stay for another 12 minutes. Thank you, Manfred.
Yeah, thank you guys, and it was nice to listen to you, B1T. See you, and I will read the transcript after the meeting. Bye.
Thank you.
Goodbye, Manfred. Thank you.
Bye.
Anyone got a question or want to expand upon governance discussion or anything? Hi, Gyu, GYU, or and not yet. Welcome. And Yasin. Any of you want to introduce yourself or say anything at all? It'd be very cool. Okay, it's more complex. Yeah, I guess one thing I learned just now from the call, talking with everyone, is we don't need hierarchy in DAOs. So yeah, we can absolutely start with we can have DAOs be peer DAOs, right? And then allow for association, free association, and so the hierarchy could develop. And the other thing I learned is we could we could use the DAO system, and we should, right? We should arguably use the DAO system to determine the membership, right, or the levels, or the structure of governance of No Land. And if we build the DAO system right, then we should be able to make a governance structure that can change and evolve over time. So we don't need to figure out the whole picture yet. We can start with something simple and get started. So maybe we only need arguably 2 levels in the beginning, just like people who have been contributing, yeah, and get the architecture of the project, and then new members, and then the next step will be to perhaps insert a level between, right? All using the same DAO framework that we're offering to everyone, which we'll also use to help with governance discussions for the Cosmos Hub, for example. And furthermore, we could we could commit to a growth curve for the top membership DAO, so that it's guaranteed to grow to some number, perhaps 334 within some number of years. So that's nice. And also, we should think more about points, or more of a quantifiable metric for contributors. So it's not just about levels, but there's also something quantifiable for everyone. Not sure how that affects, how the quantification affects people at the top level. Maybe there's a limiting function, or some function that kind of brings everyone to more or less be equal voting peers. Maybe not. I'm not sure, but there's lots to experiment on here. So, yeah.
So everyone, the next developer office hour call will be on March 28th, same time, same place. We can maybe continue the discussion at that point and let all the information sink. And in the meantime, we can discuss more on Discord and GitHub.
Yeah. So yeah, another thing is we also have, so this is bi-weekly, right? And we also have a bi-weekly a separate community call. What is it called? It's more open. It's not just our internal company, but it's
correct. It's the developer call, where we can discuss on broader level beyond Game of Realms.
right. And when is that happening again?
Next Wednesday, so that will be 22nd.
All right, thank you. So so imagine this is like level 1 here, and then we got the developers call, and B1T. I wish it would be great if you could make it. And then Nir, are you a developer? Near 1218, even if you're not a developer, it would be good to get your your thoughts. Thank you for your contribution. Hopefully we can connect after this. All right, guys. I think that's it. Unless anyone else wants to say something. I know. Oh, here's Gub is typing. White paper. Yeah, we don't have a white paper. I guess we could write one, but it's like once you write a white paper, then you get the speculators, right? People who read the white paper and want to invest and it'll certainly create a wave. I almost feel like it's nice not to have white paper and just have people who discover it, like even without a white paper, and people who can like see that it's exciting just by reading the code. So maybe the code is the white paper, and it's just yeah. Yeah, white paper is certainly coming eventually, but I don't know. Oh yeah, yeah. It's like swimming in the ocean because there's no white paper. That makes sense. Well, uh, our white paper is an ocean. It's a vast space. And white paper is written in Go. We certainly need white papers for various topics. We could almost make a white paper out of every major concern, like governance, garbage collection. Yeah, certainly for Nolang too. Nolang, the VM. Go is the way to go. Totally agree. Um, Near, are you a developer? Okay, well, we'll catch up offline. Thank you, everyone, and catch you next 2 weeks from now. And by the way, the other meeting, which we just mentioned, the developer meeting, there's also going to be transcripts. So that's invite only, I suppose, just to keep the number small and manageable. But everything is going to be transcribed. So and Vale, where is that going to be published? And where should we publish the transcripts for the development?
Discord. We will share it in Discord.
Awesome. All right.
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you, everyone, and hope to see you
And
again.
maybe just one last thing. If anybody is interested to get more involved in discussions with us, please do not hesitate to send us messages and try to get in touch with the team. We are here to support you and to know what your needs are to build on Noland.
Oh, great. Thank you. Thank you, Valerie. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. See you in 2 weeks.
See you. Have a great evening, day. Bye.
Bye-bye.